Welcome back to our channel. I'm Professor Davis, and today we'll be having a very short session on the topic controlling. Main points that we have to remember today is one, the definition of controlling, and then the major points in the controlling process. Now, understand that when we're talking about controlling, it's one of the functions of management. The earlier ones that you probably would have learned is planning, organizing, staffing, directing. And now we are with controlling. Remember that controlling is mainly talking about course correction, which basically means in case we are expected to go as per a particular plan, as per a particular channel. In case we are going off track, controlling looks to get you back in line. This is the main definition that you'll have to be remembering. Now, for the steps, I'll just tell you a small example. For example, if we are taking, say, painting a room or painting the four walls of a house, imagine we're putting a time frame for it. Say it takes 48 hours to paint the four walls. Now, the question that comes to most of us is how did we come to that 48-hour mark? Which is interesting because there's no way of knowing how long a particular thing would take before doing it. However, we do have past records. Now, if we go by what previous people had done in the same room, then we can get an idea of how long they had taken. Or we can go by the idea of a percentage. Say you are working on that same room and you know that in an hour you completed roughly 2% of the entire thing. So you would be able to calculate that to finish 100%, it might take close to 49 hours. So that gives you a good framework of what your base should be. This is called as benchmark or standard setting, which means an average person, not the best of the lot, not the worst of the lot, but an average worker, if he were to do a piece of work, how long would he take for it? This is the first step. The second step includes understanding how much time you really took. That can be done via physical manual measuring, or you can actually do it via ways and means like checking your financial books, finding your profit and loss, seeing if you are going on track. Using all of this, you can actually find out whether we are on track or not. The main point we are trying to focus on over here is understanding how much time you really took. Now, the main point comes where you're comparing point A and point B, where you know that this is the benchmark, that 48 hours is the average time that a person would take. And you see that the current person has taken, say, 50 hours, or maybe has taken only 30 hours. This is a comparison that you make. Now, once you do make that comparison, you'll understand that there can be any deviation. Maybe a positive deviation, which means that they would have taken lesser time than required, or a negative deviation, which means that they took much more time than was actually required. Each of these cases should be analyzed. For instance, if we are looking at a person who has taken much more time than was expected, say the average time was supposed to be 48 hours and he's taken 58 hours, you obviously need to look more closely into that. Why? To find out, is he truly a bad employee, or is there something else which is stopping him from actually doing the work? A good manager would try to find out, is this person overburdened? Has this person been given lots of other tasks which he needs to be filling? Or is he doing it bad because he has some sort of an emotional baggage which, as a manager, you can maybe help out? So each one of this, be it workload or personal issues, this is something that a manager can help out with, such that the person takes the corrective measures and comes back on track. The other part of it is, if it's a positive deviation, are we still going to look closely into it? The answer is yes, and the reasons are different. Here, the main point is, obviously, they're doing it faster, and that is always a good thing. However, you should be very clear, are they doing it faster consistently? Or are they doing it as a one shot, and next time you ask him to do it, he also might be able to do it, but ask him to do it continuously over 2 to 3 weeks, he might end up having a nervous breakdown and will not be able to give you that consistent performance. This is something that needs to be looked into. And then you also have to worry about whether this person actually was doing it ethically or not. Now, there are instances where the person has finished it in an absurd time, say the 48-hour work which an average employee takes. This person finishes it in 4 hours, then obviously he might be a wonder man, or he might have actually covered himself up. He might not have done the work properly, and he might be lying about it, or might not have really finished it. So, these are the core things that you have to look at in terms of course correction. Now, if you are finding out that this particular person has a positive deviation consistently over a long period of time, this also should be appreciated, because in the corporate world, this is what we call as best practice. And the use of the best practice is, if a person is able to do something faster and better than anyone else, this is something that can be implemented by the others in the office too. So if you are a manager and you see that one of your employees is doing that, you can pick up his strategy, his style, and ask the rest of your employees also to follow suit. The whole organization is going to benefit from it. This brings us to the last step, which is called as course correction, which includes all of this. And if any sort of change needs to be done, be it for negative deviations or if it's a false positive deviation, what sort of corrective measures should be taken in order to get that employee back on track, such that you have your entire team working to their full potential. This brings us to an end for today's session. Like always, if you do have any sort of questions, drop me a message on LinkedIn or put in a message in the comment box below, and I'll be more than happy to reply to that as soon as I can. Usually within a 24 or 48-hour gap, I should be able to get back to you. So, hope you are taking care of yourselves. Stay safe, stay indoors, and God bless you all.